We are going to go to this temple shortly, and it has connection. The reason I guess this topic was picked, although it's not in chronological order of what we're hearing from Maharaj, is because in this place there is some significance, and you'll make the connection as I narrate it. This topic is Hanuman's flight to the Himalayas. So we're going to go right into the middle part of Yuddha Kanda. And in Yuddha Kanda, the situation is that we will all, since we are in Lanka, we will be with Ravana in a few moments. And we want to see what Ravana is going through. What has happened is, because war is only in a proverbially fair game. Nothing is fair there, but there is sometimes victory, sometimes defeat on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes the Rakshasas would torment all the Vanaras to such severe degrees that they would think, this is it, we have finished. And something happens, and the next day, all the Rakshasas are tormented left, right, and center, and the Rakshasas think we're done. So, very much like life, just because one day looks good, it's not necessary that the next day might look well. Or as they say in the stock market, past performance is not a measure for how things will look in the future. So all these statements are taken from Valmiki. So the fight has been going on for quite some time. Ravana has just gotten news that his son Atikaya, Kaya is body, Atikaya is massively bodied, a very large fellow, has been very easily killed by Lakshmana. So Ravana doesn't take this news lightly. Obviously, his son has gotten killed. We just heard from Maharaj that, last night, that Aksha was killed, another son of Ravana. And now Ravana is sitting there and calculating who all on his side have died. The mighty warriors that had such long resumes of all the scars, battle scars that they would show off to everyone, including Dhumraksha, Akampana. I mean, even their names are like that. Dhumra Aksha, smoky-eyed. Akampana, he who makes others shiver. Prahasta, one with mighty hands. Kumbhakarna. They've all been killed by Ramachandra. And Ramachandra's, we call underdog Vanara team. Because on the one hand, the Rakshasas have not only very massive bodies, but they are what's the right word? They are so mean-spirited that while fighting, they would eat away the Vanaras. And they had mystical weaponry. They had all sorts of ways to fight. And the Vanara side, all they had was their teeth or fangs, their nails, and the talons or the feet with which they would scratch, bite, throw stones, trees, and mountain peaks. That's all. There are no weaponry with them. And the only two, actually three, Vibhishana included, some weaponry was Rama, Lakshmana, and Vibhishana. So very underdog team. And yet, Ravana is surprised that one after the other, his mighty generals have been killed. So Ravana is considering, who is this Rama? These two brothers, Rama and Lakshmana, only recently were bound by Naga Astras of my son Indrajit. And I thought they were dead. But somehow, by some means, they freed themselves. Maybe it is some sort of superhuman strength or some conjuring, some magical trick that they use to get themselves free of this Nagastra. It was Garuda who came to help. So then Ravana considers, I have never met a human being like this. Is this Rama actually a human being? Or, he says, Tam manye raghavam veeram narayana samam. I think this human being, Rama, may himself be Narayana, or he is equal to Narayana. And then the fear starts to grip his heart, fear of losing. And what he is going to lose is not his kingdom, because he's already been warned by Vibhishan and others. You will lose your kingdom, you will lose your life. All that later. He is afraid that he will lose his grip on Sita Devi. And fear is a very, very strong motivator. Not a good one, but it's a motivator. So out of fear, he gives these orders to his Rakshasas. Yatra yatra bhavet gulmas tatra tatra punah punah sarvataschapi tishtadhvam svai svai parivrata balehi. I want all of you to look at every possible gate, door, garrison, and man them with your armies. I don't want Rama, Lakshmana, or even one Vanara to enter Lanka. And I want every movement of that army, that enemy, to be very carefully observed and recorded, because I want to know what they are up to. Saying so, Valmiki says Ravana entered his palace with a thorn of wrath piercing his heart. And as he has entered his heart, we only see Ravana as this 10-headed, mighty, vicious, man-eating, one who tormented the entire universe. But in the private aspect of his own life, Ravana is crying. He's crying because his sons have been killed. His army generals have been killed by a mere human being, two of them, Rama and Lakshmana, whom he completely disregarded as if they have any strength at all. Ravana thought, when Indra, the Devatas, the Gandharvas, the Kimpurushas, Kinnaras, anybody in the universe cannot fight me, who are these two mere human beings? Not at all a match. And those two have tormented him to such a degree that Valmiki tells us, Tadeva Putra Vyasanam, out of attachment for his sons, Vichintayan, he started thinking and had become morose. Muhur Muhush Chaiva, again and again at that time, Vinishwasan, he was exhaling or sighing with a lot of sadness. He was crying. He was crying on the loss of Atikaya, while his heart is burning with anger. But the interesting thing is, the one of the reasons Valmiki writes it is to contrast. He is sad and pained at the loss of his son, but cannot even estimate what the loss Rama must be feeling at the loss of his wife, because he's the one who has perpetrated this very, very, very horrendous act of kidnapping someone else's wife. So as he's been hearing, and he's getting news again and again of this one's been killed, that's one been killed, and with this anger, when he's morose, he has Indrajit to come and put some spirit in him, to inspire him, to encourage him. So Indrajit says, my dear father, na tata moham parigartum arhase. Please don't feel any sort of sadness or illusion about this fight. When I am here, why do you fear? I am the one who has defeated Indra. And when I release an arrow, it never misses its target. In fact, all the Devatas are scared of me. Nobody can stand in front of me in battle, my dear father. When I release these sharp pointed arrows at Rama and Lakshmana, I assure you, very soon, both of them will be killed by me. My arrows never miss their target. In fact, when I enter the battlefield now, I will be like Lord Trivikrama. Because little Vamana suddenly became Trivikrama, and with 2 steps covered the entire upper regions and the lower regions of the universe. That means he has such mighty strides. I, like Lord Trivikrama, will completely defeat the Vanara army. And so Valmiki says that Indrajit bragged and boasted about his strength and his capabilities. And he called for his chariot, which was made out of gold. It was shining, resplendent. It was drawn by the greatest of donkeys. And he stood inside the chariot with his swords, bows, arrows, armor, and all sorts of weapons. And then as he left Lanka, following him were all of his retinue, his warriors. And they, each one of them of mighty powers, sat on the back of elephants, excellent horses, scorpions, cats, donkeys and camels, serpents, boars, jackals, lions, some on the back of crows, swans and peacocks. So, if you want to draw a parallel, not exactly, when an army goes forward, they have tanks, they have smaller vehicles, and then they have air attack. So the birds are also there. Think of it that way. And each of them had the varieties of weapons, lances, swords, spears, name it. There's a whole range that is given, and each of them had very mystical powers in them. And as they are leaving Lanka, going towards where Rama, Lakshmana and all the Vanaras are, they are blowing their conches, bugles and beating their drums to tell the Vanaras that Indrajit has again entered the battle, hoping that just that news will make the hearts of the Vanaras shudder with fear. Sitting on a chariot with a white umbrella and servants fanning him, Indrajit enters this battle scene. On the way to the battle scene, because he's going out on such a mighty task to appease his father, he stops halfway and has an arrangement to perform a fire yajna. And all of his mystical weapons are kept decorated around the fire pit. And as these brahmanas, they are performing the fire yajna, are pouring ghee into the fire pit, saying swaha to empower those weapons even more, Indrajit is feeling stronger, inspired, confident. And then Indrajit performs the worst of the trickery. He doesn't face his enemies. As he enters the battlefield, he becomes invisible. Not only is he invincible, he's now become invisible. And the time of it, when this fight is happening, is just around sunset. The sun's not fully set yet, but he's invisible. And now he's showering arrows from all sorts of directions with all sorts of speed and intensity and power. The Vanaras don't know what's hitting them from where. And so all you can see is like a carpet of Vanaras falling dead, one after the other, because they don't know where Indrajit is firing these weapons from. Some of them are standing, and the next moment they're on the ground fallen. They are so agonized by this invisible source of weapons that the monkeys are running here and there and stampeding and crushing themselves under their own feet. That's the confusion there. Yet, some of them will stand up and say, no, we are here to fight for Sri Ramachandra, Ramakarya. Let's turn around. We don't know where it's coming from, but we will fight. So they're almost fighting against a source that they can't see while they're fighting with the Rakshasas who are coming towards them. I hope I'm able to convey the difficulty the Vanaras have. They are being constantly surrounded by the Rakshasas, yet there are also additional weapons and arrows and other things being shot at them like rain. Last night we were standing here for dinner. In a moment of 2 minutes, there was so much rain that the drums that were there filled up in 40 seconds. Now, multiply that by 10 times, if you will, that there's such a massive shower of arrows at them. And all of them are being completely crushed. And of course, Valmiki gives details, so I'm going to share a couple of them. Gandhamadana was shot or pierced with 18 arrows. Nala was shot by 9. These are all from Indrajit. Mainda got shot 7 arrows and Gaja by 5. Jambavan got hit by 10 arrows. Neela by 30. And at this time, Indrajit thought enough is enough and invoked the Brahmastra. And as soon as he invoked the Brahma mantra on it, the entire earth shook because it's a very mighty weapon. And as soon as he released the Brahmastra, at one shot, all the Vanaras fell dead. Here Valmiki uses the word Nishprana Iva, like there was no life in them anymore. Now, not only were all of the Vanaras completely fallen on the ground, they could not see Indrajit. While all these mighty Vanara generals, the list that I gave, Valmiki gives even a longer list, could not see. At the same time, Rama and Lakshmana themselves were covered with such a shower of arrows, and they too fell, Nishprana Iva, as if there was no life in them. Now, when such a situation happens, imagine being on the battlefield and your own hero, Sri Rama and Lakshmana, heroes, are fallen as if dead. The amount of panic, chaos within the Vanara army. Do they stand and fight? Do they run away? What do? They look at their generals, but all of them also have fallen. Sugriva has fallen. Angada is gone. Jambavan is fallen. There is nobody on the battlefield still remaining except Vibhishana, because Vibhishana knows the conjuring trick of Indrajit, and Hanuman, because Hanuman has a blessing that he will not be hit by or hurt by Brahmastra. So at this time, they don't know what to do. The sun has set. It's pitch dark. They can't recognize who's who on the battlefield. Vibhishana thinks it's important for him to step in to inspire the Vanaras because Sugriva himself is on the floor. So he says, let me find Hanuman because he and I may probably get some wisdom from Jambavan because he's the senior most in the army. Because these two brothers, Rama and Lakshmana, have been knocked out by Brahmastra. Although Vibhishana has the understanding that they are respecting the Brahmastra. I mean, Brahmastra cannot be more powerful than the Supreme Lord himself. But because they are in the human, or they're acting like human, or they're in the Manushya Bhava, as if they are human beings, because only human beings are persons that Ravana did not feel he needs any protection from. So Rama and Lakshmana always consider themselves like human or like human beings. So they are respecting the Brahmastra, and so they are fallen on the ground, immobilized. So then Hanuman and Vibhishana light torches, and in the battlefield they're looking for our wonderful Jambavan. As they're searching through, they haven't found him yet. They're looking here and there, looking here and there, and finally they find Jambavan. Now, Jambavan himself has been pierced all through his body with arrows. There are so many arrows on Jambavan that he can't even open his eyelids. So when they come close to him, Vibhishana talks to Jambavan. Oh, Jambavan, please tell us what you think we should do at this time. And interestingly, Jambavan says, is Hanuman alive? So Vibhishana is a little surprised. Jambavan says, I recognize you as Vibhishana. I can't open my eyes and see you, but I recognize your voice. Is Hanuman alive? So Vibhishana is a little confused. And he says, you have not inquired about the two princes, Rama and Lakshmana. You have not asked about our king Sugriva, but you're asking, is Hanuman alive? Why is that? So Jambavan says, listen, I will tell you something about Hanuman. I'll read you the verse because it's very beautifully written by Valmiki. Asmin jivati vire tu hatam apyahatam balam. If this Hanuman is alive, then even if our strength has been completely vanquished, we are assured of all strength. Hanumat ujjivato prano, jivanto api mrata vayam. If Hanuman has left his breath, that means if he's died, even if we are alive, we're as good as dead. So it is Hanuman alone who will revive this entire army. There is no one else who can do this. So is Hanuman alive? Hanuman is standing right there with a torch in his hand. Imagine on a battlefield with Rama, Lakshmana also there, Sugriva also there, and Jambavan is making such fantastic statements about Hanuman. And our Hanuman, our hero, is not in the least proud or arrogant. That in fact, this is what Hanuman does. And this is a wonderful lesson for me, especially because I struggle with the opposite of what Hanuman has here. Tato vruddham upagamya. Because he's on the floor or the ground. Upagamya means Hanuman also sat down. Vinayena abhyavadayat. With utter humility expressed to Jambavan how wonderful Jambavan himself is. Now exactly what he did is not written, but he says abhyavadayat. Abhivadana means to address, to express some words of appreciation. Not like mutual back scratching. You said something nice to me, let me say something nice to you. Hanuman generally feels vinayena. Vinayena abhyavadayat. And what did Hanuman do? Gruhya Jambavatah padav. He grasped Jambavan's feet. Hanuman Marutatmajaha. That is his humility. Although he is the mightiest, he is the strongest among all of them. But his Vinaya is very, very heart-winning. It steals our heart that he grasped Jambavan's feet and with utter humility addressed him. Shrutva Hanumato Vakyam Tada. At that time, Jambavan, as soon as he heard Hanuman's voice, when someone's heart is afflicted, in this case physically also afflicted, the soothing words of someone who's very humble brings life into someone. Of course, he's the son of Vayu. Vayu is Pran, as we say, the life that moves inside us. So in that sense, but here, the lovely, sweet words of a gentle person, a humble person can bring new life into someone. And so Valmiki says, Punar jatam iva atmanam manye. Jambavan felt as if he was born again. Punarjatam. And then Jambavan gave Hanuman the orders. Here's what you need to do. You're the only one who can help this entire Vanara army. You can bring joy back to the Vanara army, to Rama, Lakshmana, Sugriva, Vibhishana, the whole list of us. I want you to cover a long distance of 1,000 yojanas. When he went in search of Sita Devi, Hanuman jumped 100 yojanas. And that 100 yojanas jump, we celebrated, we sing, we glorify that he did something. Maharaj used the phrase for us, Dushkaram, Nishpratindvandvam. Right? Just the onomatopoeia of the verse, the itself tells us there's such a difficult word. Dushkaram, Nishpratindvandvam, Chikirsham, Karmavanaraha. Such a Hanuman is being asked to jump to 1,000 yojanas. And says, out up there, I want you to go to the Himalayas and bring certain herbs that will revive this entire army. And here's a nice glorification that Jambavan speaks about Hanuman, which in a general way is applicable to the how a child, a son or a daughter, by being in the service of the Supreme Lord and his consort, can bring fame and glory to his or her parents. Anjana supraja yena matarishva cha suvrataha. That you bring great name to Vayu and to Anjana. Hanuman vanara sreshta pranan dharyate kvachit. If Hanuman is alive, he is the person who can bring fame and glory to his parents. So go to the Himalayas, 1,000 yojanas, and as you fly northward, you will come to a particular mountain called Rishabha. From the peak of Rishabha, you can see the peak of Kailash or Kailasa, where Lord Shiva resides. Between these two mountains is another mountain that is glowing with transcendental herbs. I want you to bring these 4 herbs from there. Herb number 1 is called Mrita Sanjeevani. You know what the meaning is? Mrita means dead. Sanjeevani brings one back to life from death. Next one is Vishalya Karani. Vishalya Karani means when everyone is pierced with arrows and lances and spears, that herb will remove all wounds. It will heal the body immediately. From any pain, scars, nothing at all. Everything will be quickly healed. Suvarna Karani. Varna, complexion. Suvarna Karani, it makes the one's complexion come back nice and glowing as they originally were, because they're fighting, right? So there's scars, they've lost their complexion, especially when someone's dead. All of one's, because blood is not flowing anymore, there is no hue in the body. And finally, the great herb called Sandhani. Sandhana means to join. So this herb will help in repairing all the arms that were cut off, the fingers, the legs, torsos, heads that were cut off. They will all be joined back again. So please bring them. Son of wind god Vayu, quickly go to the Himalayas and bring them. So this is the herb treatment. So Hanuman, previously also he had the orders of Jambavan. When Jambavan said, go to Lanka. Now he's saying, go to Himalayas. So Hanuman stood on the top of Trikuta mountain. And very similar to how he prepared himself to jump across, we hear a few things. Size became very big and he started pressing down on Trikuta mountain. The mountain started to shake. And along with it, all the earth around it, Lanka started to shake. He's pressing down on the Mount Trikuta. on the physics side of it, if he has to gain thrust, you need great mass for you to get great velocity. So you've seen how a rocket shoots up. You have a rocket standing and it is standing still, and then once it starts pushing those gases down, the gas will push the rocket up. So Hanuman is pressing down to generate that velocity for himself to jump. So with that thrust, takes a giant leap, and with that giant leap goes on top of a Malaya mountain. And from that Malaya mountain, he presses it down further and makes such a strong leap to go all the way to 1,000 yojanas. And as he's flying, remember, it was at night, so the sun has just risen. And as the sun has risen, he's able to see the sea under him, the mountains, the farmlands, the plains, the birds, the rivers, as he's flying. That Mount Malaya, from where he jumped off, is 480 miles high. So the step and then a thrust even higher. As he's flying, Hanuman, his tail has been put up like a serpent. His lower back has been pulled in, so it's a curve. And his shoulders pushed back, opened his mouth and roared with such intensity that people in Lanka could not sleep. Valmiki says they were all stunned by that roar, that they would not moving. He's going on this fantastic expedition for Sri Ramachandra. I'm going to fast forward. I think there are some other, you can see some nice verses and words, but we'll keep going. As he's flying through, he's roaring, he's very, very inspired, and we get a whole geography of whose abodes he sees. So I'm just going to list quickly. He saw the abode of Agni, the abode of Kubera. He saw from where I don't know this story, I didn't get time to research it. Apparently Vishwakarma had tied down the sun for a few days, so that spot there. He saw the abode of Lord Brahma. He saw where the bow of Lord Shiva was kept. He saw the very entrance from which, if one person would go, you could reach Patala. He saw, not that we are interested in going there, but he saw the wonderful Mount Kailasa. He saw Ugra, another entity there. He saw Nandi, and finally the Mount Rishabha, from where he was going to go. Now, when Hanuman saw this, he was astonished. Wow, such beauty. He has covered a distance of 1,000 yojanas. And as soon as he sees that mountain that is glowing with all these herbs, he goes near it. Those herbs sense that someone is here, some person who generally should not be here, and all the herbs stopped glowing at all. So now Hanuman can't decipher which herb am I supposed to pick. So as he's there, he's feeling a sense of urgency. I cannot waste time here searching through things, right? I don't have the time. And this mountain, how dare he not assist me in the work of Sri Ramachandra? I became so angry at that mountain. How can you not be of service? But I will teach you a lesson. I'm not going to take the herbs. I'm going to take the entire peak away. So with his strength, he grabbed the mountain peak and shook it and cracked open the entire summit and peak, that the plateau that formed just burst into flames. And Hanuman carried that peak. A famous picture, we always see Hanuman carrying a peak. That Hanuman carried this mighty mountain peak, mighty size of Hanuman, and quickly jumped back. And here, Valmiki tells us that he flew back, or he was flying back with the speed of Garuda. Because Lord Vishnu himself is the bearer of the entire universe, let's say. Of course, the bearer of the entire creation, but each universe is born by him. And such a heavy personality sits on Garuda, and yet Garuda flies very fast. So that's the analogy comparison, that a mighty mountain that is being carried by Hanuman, yet he's flying at the speed of Garuda. Garuda Vegena. And as Hanuman is flying, all the celestial beings have collected in the sky and they're glorifying Hanuman. Wow, what a mighty scene. We have never seen anything like this. All of them are in the sky. Here's one of my favorite verses, because Maharaj has been pointing towards the poetry of Valmiki. Poetry is something where, I'll say something. When I was in school, even high school, I could understand prose, but poetry, I always got the lowest grades in it, because I could never understand how a poet says some words and the meaning is something else out there. Right? I could never make those connections. But that's what poetry is, that it is eloquent, it has words and phrases, but they mean something else. Plus, poetry is a way of saying something in a beautiful way to enhance the beauty of whatever is being expressed. So here, the sun is there in the sky, Hanuman is flying, the mountain is on his hand. So Valmiki tells us, Sir, the word for the sun, in one of the words for the sun in English, in Sanskrit is Bhaskara. One who makes everything glow, or that we can see. So enlightening. Sa Bhaskara Dhvan Anuprapannam Bhaskarabham Shikaram Pragrihya Babhau Tada Bhaskara Sannikasho Rave Samipe Pratibhaskarabha. 4 lines, 4 times the word Bhaskara. And each time the word Bhaskara applies to someone else. So, Sa, he, Hanuman, Bhaskara Dhvan. This is a beautiful image that we have of Hanuman carrying, that Hanuman was glowing like the sun. And Bhaskarabham Shikara Pragrihya. The peak itself was also shining like the sun. And both together were glowing like 2 suns in the sky. Ravehe Samipe. And he was very close to the sun, who himself was glowing in the sky. So there are so many illuminating personalities in the sky. This is, I take it as Valmiki's, I guess, moment of ecstasy of just visualizing Hanuman flying that way. There are many names for Hanuman. And as we know in Bhagavad Gita, every time Krishna calls Arjuna, oh Guda Kesha, there is some meaning for it. That, oh, you have conquered sleep or ignorance. Or Arjuna will say, oh Govinda, why are you asking me to fight? That there's a meaning for the word Govinda, or the reason why Govinda is being spoken. So here also Hanuman has a new name or a different name. Usually we hear the name of Hanuman as Hanuman, Anjaneya, Maruti, Pavanaputra, Pavanatmaja. Here is another new name, which is very apt for this situation. Satena Shailena Bhrusham Raraja. Bhrusham, mighty, Shaila, mountain, Raraja, he's glowing. Shailopamo Gandha Vahatmajastu. He himself looked like a mountain. So he was like a mountain carrying a mountain. And his name here given is Gandha Vaha Atmaja. Gandha is fragrance or smell. Vaha is one who carries. Wind or air carries fragrance. That is Vayu. Vayu, sun. But why is he being called Gandha Vahatmaja? Because these herbs are ones that they are going to smell to become alive again. That's the poetic connection. That Hanuman is being called Gandha Vahatmaja because he is carrying with him this fragrant herbs with which they will all revive and come back to life. As Hanuman is landing, all the Vanaras, whoever are alive, is still feebly yet are roaring, and Hanuman is roaring, telling them, I'm here. And as soon as Hanuman lands, what do you think is the first thing he might do? Take a guess. Go to Jambavan. Very good. What else? Any other ideas? Go to Lakshmana, go to Sri Rama. Put the mountain down. Sri Rupa. You're right. Tato Mahatma, that great personality, Nipapata Tasmin Shailo. He put the mountain on the ground, but Haraya Uttamebhya, all the great Vanaras that were on the ground there, Shirasa Abhivadaya, he touched his head to their feet. He himself is such a mighty hero, but his humility is shining forth like anything. He never considers, I did something. Never that I am the doer. Not at all that, not even the slightest bit. With his head, he bowed down to all the great Vanara. None of them is his equal. None of them is his equal. Yet, he has this humility. He bows down to them, offers his obeisances, and then Sushena and others, he offers the herbs. And one by one, they are all revived. All the Vanaras whose heads were cut off, arms were cut off, fingers, legs, torsos were scarred, cut off, whatever pieces of flesh that are, everybody came back to full life, full strength, full virility. Rama Lakshmana also got up. One of the hidden meanings is to glorify Hanuman, but they got up, they were all back to full strength because the herb's fragrance was wafting through the battlefield. So question, did the Rakshasas also come back to life? What do you think? Yes? No. All the yes people, raise your hand. You don't want the Rakshasas to survive? It's such a low. All the ones who felt that Rakshasas did not survive, raise your hand. And the others are just ready to get on the bus, I guess. Valmiki says that the Rakshasas did not revive. Yeah. There is a reason. There is a reason. It's revealed later in the Yuddha Kanda, but I'll tell you right now. When the Vanaras were being hurt and maimed on the battlefield, Ramachandra had told the army, whoever from our party is hurt, you carry them and bring them back. Ravana said to his Rakshasas, whoever on our side is killed, you throw their bodies in the ocean. Because I don't want Rama's army to get a count of how many of our Rakshasas are being killed. Because they will estimate our strength by it. So Ravana's army did not get revived. But Ramachandra's entire army got revived back again. And this chapter ends with one verse. I'll say the verse, I'll tell you the meaning, but I have questions for you. I'm not going to let you so easy. Tato, at that time. So we know the rubric for studying Ramayana. Any verse that starts with a ta has some important meaning. It is also ending the chapter with it. That means it has greater meaning. Or when a chapter starts. So tato. Okay, so our ears should perk up. Tato. Hari Gandha Vahat Majastu. At that time, Hanuman, the son of Vayu. Tam Aushadhi Shailam Udagravegaha. Tam Aushadhi Shailam. That mountain of herbs. Udagravegana. With impetuous velocity. Ninaya. Vegad. Himavat Anteva. He went back and left it in the Himalayas again. Punascha Ramena Sama Jagama. And quickly came back to be with Ramachandra. In one verse, he spent a chapter and a half to tell us about Hanuman going in the first place to bring the herbs. And in one shloka tells us he went there and came back. What do you think might be the reason? Any takers? There's no right or wrong answer because I don't know even if you say something whether it's right or wrong. So let's.
So he did his work, his herb craft, and actually didn't want to. The herb existed in some place for a reason, so he didn't want to disturb anything there. He got the work done and actually got the herbs back.
Haribo. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Any other reason? That's sure. Correct. All right. Any other? Take a guess. There's nothing wrong. You've already paid for the yatra, so you're not going to lose anything. Hanuman doesn't want to take any credit for service. That's correct too. That is true. In this context, why in one verse? Because we want to appreciate Valmiki's poetry. Very good. Why to elaborate on things that are not related to service? Very good. Anything else? Yes, Prabhu. To show his speed. Very good. Thank you. The speed with which Hanuman went and came back is spoken in two lines, or actually one line. Punascha Ramena Samajaga. Two lines. He went there in the third line, and in the fourth line, Punascha Ramena Sam. So 1,000 yojanas again went there, put the mountain back, and came back in a jiffy. So in poetry, or even in sloka, there is something called dhvani. Dhvani means sound. Dhvani means it's not spoken or explicitly indicated, but you're meant to understand it. Like if in the room, wherever we're in the temple, when we hear the conch, we don't see the person blowing the conch, we don't see the conch, but we hear the sound of it. So we know, oh, time for arati. It's called dhvani. So such verses are dhvanis. Dhvani is, he's not even saying that he just says he went and came back, but the conveyed message is the speed with which he went back, kept it there, and came back. One, yes, the service was done. But more importantly, because it is Hanuman, he's ready for the next service. So there's no time wasted. First time when he went, we're given a description. So there are three other reasons. One, it's the Leela that he returned the herbs back. Like you said, Prabhu. They're meant to be there. You don't displace them. So we've learned from Srila Prabhupada lovely lessons that a place for everything and everything in its place. So although Hanuman took those herbs, others will also need it, so he put it back there. From a rasa perspective, he's always eager to serve Ramachandra. So the verse doesn't just say he went fast and came back. He says, Punascha, again, Ramena Samajagama. He came back to be with Rama, means ready for the next set of orders. And it shows how fast he moves. And yet, he's so eager for service. Yes, you have a question? You want to say something? Yeah, go ahead. How much devotion? How much devotion and attraction he has to Ramachandra? Absolutely. You're right. Absolutely. His eagerness. He was rushing to get the mountain. He rushed back. And now that that service is done, now he wants to rush even faster for the next set of orders. So that's the first time he goes to the Himalayas. There is a second episode, which I told Shamkund Prabhu that I won't be able to cover, but I'll just say it in quickly. As the verse says quickly, I'll also narrate it quickly. So the second time is later as the war proceeds even further. Indrajit's killed, the whole Rakshasa army is being decimated. Ravana becomes very angry and he comes out on the battlefield and he's fighting with great strength because he has this sense of vengeance to avenge the death of all of his sons and relatives and generals and friends and all. So he's fighting so intensely, he moves towards Sri Ramachandra when Lakshmana intervenes. So Ravana picks up his mighty Shakti weapon and throws it with such strength that it pierces Lakshmana's heart, makes Lakshmana fall on the ground, and the weapon goes into the ground. So Lakshmana cannot be moved from there. The Vanaras, mighty generals, they all try to pull that weapon out of Lakshmana's chest. It's not possible. Ramachandra tries to pull out, and his strength, he can pull it out. But Lakshmana has just fallen on the ground. At that time, Ramachandra is completely broken hearted, and his love for his brother is so intensely expressed that Ramachandra falls on the ground and crying, saying, "There's no need to be alive anymore if Lakshmana is not there with me. I can find multiple Sitas, I can marry many times, but I cannot find another Lakshmana." And he's so despondent. At that time, Sushena, the doctor among the Vanaras, tells Hanuman, "Go back and bring those 4 herbs again." So Hanuman jumps back 1,000 yojanas, brings the mountain back. Again, Lakshmana is revived. And guess what? Puts the mountain back, comes back again to fight in the army. Those are the 2 trips he makes back to the Himalayas. And we're about 4 minutes from ending. But we're done. Thank you. Because we need some time to get on the buses. I'm not going to take any questions because I'm not responsible for what I said. No, I'm kidding. I don't think we have the time. I'm sure there is some churning. I let it stay, let it sink in, let it integrate. As we are going in the bus to that very place, apparently as Hanuman is flying in, some of that herb fell there, or herbs fell there. So we're going to go to that place. We'll let it integrate. We'll feel inspired by our wonderful hero, Sri Hanumanji. Sita Rama Lakshman Hanumanji ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. So please pay attention.